Okay, so the question's about AI. So the whole world of artificial intelligence coming online, how does that fit into the equation? Is that what you would say, Beth? Yeah. That's a new one.
Of all the questions I could have predicted.
Yeah, I didn't see that one coming either, Beth, so thanks.
No, it's great. I'm putting this kind of in the camp of what I was saying earlier about building this bridge kind of between we can't go back to hunter-gatherer.
Right.
We wouldn't necessarily want to. And technology is not going to fix it. Right? And so I think maybe in the earth-centered space, we look to one another for ethics. And that is what, in my limited understanding of what's going on with AI right now, it's what's missing. Mm-hmm. That there's this question around just because we can doesn't mean that we should. And so if we can find our talking stick circles and be really thorough in how we're holding it, of course there are going to be examples of where AI is already doing good things for us and it's not causing harm and it might even be doing a lot of good. But yeah, clearly there's all kinds of things that can go wrong. And there's all kinds of things that are already going wrong with not artificial technology intelligence.
Yes, that's
so,
true. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Well, no, but I do like that you ground the approach in something centered in the kingdom, and not just get excited about the technology and to go down yet another crazy rabbit hole. I mean, I think that's hard to do when it's attractive and it's furious, and who just poured a ton of money into that, right? One country just shoved a ton of money. Saudi Arabia said, we're going all in with AI, so it's going to be a thing that we're going to have to absorb. Steve?
I was just scratching my ear.
Get out of town. April? Scratching my ear.
We'll be back to you.
I'm happy to ask a question.
Okay, I'm coming back to you next then.
So, like, kind of in the realm of kingdom, and so I can remember, like, as a child being taught about photosynthesis and, like, the trees give us oxygen and our carbon monoxide give the trees life, and there's, like, this relationship and whatever. But then the more dominant narrative was then, I don't know, capitalism. to just put it in a nutshell. So then there's this whole conversation of separation. I'm separate from the earth, nature, the planet.
Yeah.
And then my view is the only hope that we have is for, so then the things that occurred for me personally is to be like, oh, right, I am nature. Like, I don't go into nature.
Yeah.
I'm a part of nature. So it's the relationship of being a part of, but the dominant narrative, so I don't know, so we'll buy stuff, is to create separation. So what do you see as you go back and talk about the things that you talk about in the realms of kind of that deeper separation? Like, how do people react to, like, the meditation that you did with us in the beginning? Like, do you see a hunger, a hope for tapping into that maybe I should save my home?
Yeah.
That's a good question. Like, how are the public responding to sort of this movement from your perspective? You move in a lot of circles, so what are you seeing out there as far as the response?
I mean, what happens if, just going back for a second into that communion moment you shared with Reverence at the beginning of today. What if Reverence says, I want you to leave your job. I didn't say that. Reverence did. I want you to work in a way that's more caring toward these other species. We have to follow the breadcrumbs, that's all I'm saying.
The
That,
reaction that you get, though, from that, in the spaces that you go out into, so the people that maybe aren't so buying into it so quickly, like, what's the pushback that you get, and then are you seeing?
Yeah, that's a good question. So how are you feeling like, because this is new material for a lot of people, and how does it land, and is there sort of a shove back about, hey, well, yeah, that's great, but, what are you seeing out there? I mean, we all kind of live in these echo chambers a little bit. I'm guilty of that myself, but as you move in this circle, what are the voices that are asking those kind of questions?
yeah. For me right now, a lot of the work that I'm doing is international. I am the Earth Restoration Coordinator for a group called the United Religions Initiative, and we work with grassroots groups around the world who are taking climate action and trying to restore Earth. And there are really good examples every day of people who are kind of bucking the system or deciding, well, the system hasn't actually given me what it promised, so therefore, I think I need to make a different choice now. And even in this country, I mean, I think we're seeing it a lot with the election. There's a huge amount of pressure put on people in power to save us, to do what we're entitled to have, to make it so. And then when they can't do it, because we live in an interdependent planet where jet streams and water and all kinds of other things are also holding us, we want to put the blame somewhere, right? And so in the ways that we can continue to, again, I know I've said this, but right size ourselves and sort of think bioregionally and think regeneratively with one another, it starts to get infinitely more interesting, and the possibilities are a lot more imaginative. I don't know if it's still happening, but you had kind of a CSA program here for a while, right?
Yeah, no,
Yeah, it's still happening.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in the ways that we're really tending our bioregion and looking at our local economies, oh my gosh, like the possibilities feel so much more life-giving. And I think that that's what reverence is inviting us to. And I don't think that it's a crazy ask, even for the people who have been, maybe wearing the golden handcuffs, as it were, in the corporate system. They're starting to see some of the holes too, and feeling the brittle quality that is the dominant system. And there's a real invitation for all of us right now.
Well, it's cool that you're seeing this internationally. I mean, that's an exposure that you're getting that very few of us have access to, right? We're usually thinking kind of local, what's happening here, but that you're seeing this pop up throughout the global community is pretty impressive, I think. Steve, you got a question? We all love Steve Richard, let's just admit it. Welcome, Steve. Yeah. See, there's a couple people who love him.
All the way from Bainbridge, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
My wife and I were walking on Stinson Beach 3-4 days ago, and there was thousands of these little things on the beach that we thought they were rocks or shells. We figured out they were these little jellyfish called Salem wind, with little fins on them. And we started researching, and anyway, it became a moment of reverence. We were like, oh my God, this is incredible. I can't believe we're walking through this, all these thousands of things arrived on the, on the ocean and the waves. And for me, I feel like those moments just land on me sometimes. And I don't know when they're going to come. And I want them more. I want them all the time. But I find that I can't control that. So my question is,
great. There's a good closing question. How do we live into this more fully on a daily basis? That those moments are more present for us in your experience.
One of the questions in a work that reconnects exercise is, what delights you? Walking on the beach with my wife and finding jellyfish delights me. And Valentino, my husband back there, and we have this we call it ornithology TV. Like looking out our kitchen window, there are these birds, and Valentino whistles, I don't, but he can sing their songs back to them. And then there's this beautiful conversation that happens, and it's pretty delightful. I think often reverence arrives, certainly when we're not looking for it, I hear you, Steve, but it also arrives in really small ways. And so to even look for ways that nature is being a little gnarly, like all of the pollen that's on your car, or the dust that settled on your nightstand, but you swear you just dusted it. And like, look at creation doing what creation does.
Yeah.
Again, I am in this biosphere and I am a participant, and the dust is just part of me again. So many moments, kind of delightful. We find ourselves in it again and again and again.
Yeah. Well, who would anticipate that the pathway is delight and pleasure, right? Because we're so utilitarian in our constructs. I feel like it's like, just follow your bliss a little bit, Steve, and they'll show up more often. John, I was saying that was the last question, but clearly you're not agreeing with me. It's typical.
Verbalized that and said, no.
All right, what do you got?
So a comment and a question. Being here today, listening and participating, it's all about relationship under the guise of reverence. So for me, at 90, my experience is that relationship
I love that you chose the word dance. I think that's a great, getting out of this as something that's either an obligation or requires some effort on our part, but just saying, I'm here to dance with you, wherever you are, that's a pretty impressive way to approach it, I think. Lauren, comments on that before, and then that will be the last question.
I just applaud your eco-chaplaincy in this world.
Yes,
Because
yes.
you're doing it beautifully.
Yeah.
And I would like to end, if we could, with just a really quick practice that might call us back when we find ourselves feeling a little separate or a little lost.
Yeah.
Before I do that, Dan, I brought you
A plant? Thank you.
Thank you so much for the ways that you've invited me to collaborate and create with you in these
Yeah.
past years.
I know.
And this is a teacher. I'm so glad I didn't bring like a blue jay, because apparently that would have
Yeah, that was wise.
been really, woo!
Yeah,
It's
close
just,
call.
it's really low
So
maintenance.
honor the teacher.
It says Lucky Jade on the tag, Lucky Jade. So
Fair enough.
it's all for you.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
And the practice, so some of you have heard in your yoga studios, perhaps Om. It's a primordial sound, like the flaring forth of our universe, Om. And it just so happens that Om rhymes with
Home. Yeah, it had that home.
So, when you are coming out of a meeting that went badly, or you are stressed out about something, or you're out on a walk but just still not feeling grounded, there's this chant that I made up, and I'm going to sing it 3 times, and I invite you to just join me.
Oh, awesome.
It's really simple.
Okay.
H-O-M-E, home. H-O-M-E, home. H-O-M-E, home. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, everybody. My parting gift to Lauren is we use this for one of our Earth celebrations. It's the green one. Well, I call it green one because it's Green Man from that great tradition. So
That's
I'm turning this
awesome.
over to you to put in your library or strap on your head and run around the house with it on. Whatever you want to do. Whatever you do. Yeah, that's what
What do
we're
you
talking
think?
about.
Yeah?
All right. Good.
Cool!
And a shout out, you look great in it. And then a shout out to Michael. Michael, you want to wave your hand? Michael was our last speaker about taking a pilgrimage journey. If you have any questions or comments about pilgrimage, see Michael. He provided some resources, did a great lecture for us. So thanks for coming back, Michael. Lovely to have you. All right, everybody. Thanks for being here. Awesome
Thank
night
you,
together.
everyone.
Back to the BGs. Feel free to, if you brought a big bottle of wine and it wasn't opened up, take it home with you. Your snacks, take home with you. Or have something else to eat and socialize as long as you like. Yeah, it was awesome. I get some music going here.